So, what if the whole point of AI wasn't just to give us, shinier, better apps? What if the real goal was to make us not need them at all? We're about to dive into a vision of the future where AI doesn't just help you work, it makes the very idea of work as we know it completely invisible. This idea from entrepreneurs Somay Jain really flips our entire digital world on its head. I mean, think about it. Right now, we live in a world of interfaces. You've got an app for a car, an app for your food, an app for email. The ultimate promise of AI, though, is to just collapse all of that into one single thing that understands you, that understands your intent. And, this leads to an even bigger question. If AI can handle all the boring, logical stuff that fills up our days, what's left for us? Well, according to Jane, the answer isn't unemployment, it's freedom. It's the freedom to actually connect with people, to create, and to focus on the things that make us human, while AI just handles the rest. Okay, so how do we even get to a future like that? Well, the first huge step is this idea Jane calls making work invisible. And this is all about getting rid of the digital busy work, the clicking and the typing that has basically become modern work. Let's break down what that actually looks like. This slide really shows the fundamental shift we're talking about. Over on the left, that's our world today, a whole mess of different apps for different tasks. But on the right, that's the future. One single, unified AI assistant. You don't open Uber anymore. You just tell your assistant, hey, I need a ride to the airport, and it figures out all the details behind the scenes. So, what does invisible work really mean day to day? Okay, imagine this. You just say to your AI, send an invoice to Raj for 50,000 rupees and remind him every day at 9 p.m. until he replies. The AI doesn't just write an email for you. No, it generates a PDF, it sends the email, it sets up a recurring reminder, and this is the key part. It stops the whole process once Raj actually replies. That whole workflow, which today would take multiple apps and you manually checking in, just becomes one single sentence. And look, this massive shift isn't just some sci-fi dream. It is creating absolutely huge opportunities right now. This is the next gold rush, for real, and it's happening in places you probably wouldn't expect. So the first and most obvious opportunity is in hyper-productivity. Tools like Jaman's own creation, Bindi, are already showing us what's possible. These things can chain multiple actions together. Go to Google, get a stock price, send that price to your broker in an email, and then pop a reminder on your calendar to check for a reply in 2 hours. This is literally the end of copy-pasting and having 20 tabs open. But it's not just about work. Let's talk about something like dating. We've all heard of swipe fatigue, right? The endless, mindless swiping. Well, the AI solution is pretty amazing. You have an assistant that actually knows you, it understands what you're looking for, and it works behind the scenes to find you one single, highly compatible date per week. It replaces all that endless swiping with a real, meaningful connection. And this brings us to a really crucial, kind of wild point. In that dating scenario, your AI assistant isn't just scanning a database. It's actually having a conversation with the AI assistants of other people. They're negotiating compatibility and figuring out potential matches on your behalf. We're moving from a world where we talk to AI to a world where our AIs talk to each other to get things done for us. Okay, so everything we've talked about so far has been about software and digital stuff. But the real revolution, the one that changes everything, starts when this intelligence breaks out of our screens and comes into the physical world. This is where things get really, really interesting. The first and maybe most obvious intersection is between robotics and AI. This is where the digital brain of an AI gets a physical body. It gets hands, and it can suddenly start manipulating the world of atoms, not just the world of bits and bytes. Jane paints such a cool picture here. You know that Pixar lamp? Now imagine a real lamp in your house that's infused with that kind of intelligence. It can sense your mood. If you tell it you had a rough day, it might dim its light and physically slump over, looking kind of depressed. And on a much bigger scale, imagine fleets of these autonomous robots that can build you a custom house from scratch in just a few days. This is AI physically reshaping the world around us. So if AI-powered robots are changing the world around us, this next intersection is about changing the world within us. We're talking about the fusion of AI with bioengineering, targeting the code of life itself. I mean, just listen to that. That is a staggering prediction. But the logic behind it is actually based on real technology. The idea is that aging isn't this unstoppable thing. It's mostly caused by our organs failing. So if AI can massively speed up our ability to solve that problem using tools like CRISPR gene editing, well, it could fundamentally change what it means to be human and how long we live. So when you start to combine all this, invisible work, conscious robots, and radical life extension, you're not just changing technology anymore, you are completely rewriting the rules of society and what it even means to be human. And here's a fascinating, maybe slightly creepy consequence of all this. Jenkin tells the story about the founder of a popular app who realized he was unknowingly replying to one of his own AI bots on Twitter. This is the start of what he calls the zombie internet, a place where so much of the content is AI generated that you just can't trust that you're talking to a person anymore. The internet stops being a town square for conversation and becomes more like a library just for consuming information. And that leads to an even more radical idea. I mean, if AI and robotics can automate the production of pretty much everything, do we even need money anymore? In this future, the only thing that's truly scarce is the energy to power all the AI. So with all our basic needs, food, shelter, you name it, provided for, everyone could essentially live the lifestyle of a billionaire today. Okay, I know this all sounds massive, maybe even a little overwhelming. So what does it actually mean for you right now? How do you even prepare for a world that's changing this fast? Let's bring it back down to a practical toolkit you can use. According to Jane, it really just boils down to two critical skills. First, your ability to talk to an AI, basically your prompting skills. And second, having a sense of high urgency, the speed at which you can adapt and get things done. In a world that's changing exponentially, your ability to learn and act fast is everything. So let's zoom in on that first skill. Prompt engineering is the fancy name for it, but you should really just think of it as a new kind of literacy. Seriously, just like learning to read and write was absolutely essential for the industrial age, learning to communicate clearly with AI is going to be essential for this new age of intelligence. So what makes a good prompt? It's actually not about being short. It's about being super clear. First, start with the do's. Tell the AI exactly what you want it to do. Then add the don'ts. Give it constraints, tell it what to avoid. And here's a great pro tip from Jane. Use what he calls power words. Phrases like think hard, or go in depth, or go the extra length can actually trigger these models to give you much better, more thoughtful answers. Ultimately, this all leads us to one final powerful question. We are standing at the dawn of a completely new era, one that's not going to be defined by the internet, but by intelligence itself. And this new intelligence, it speaks a new language, the language of prompts, of intent, of conversation. So the only question left is, are you ready to become fluent?